Goaltenders for the Tampa Bay Lightning after getting Nabokov getting a rare start, his first since December the 19th. The Flyers get the opportunity to go up against the backup netminder in Tampa. Rob Zepp, backup for the Miners. Won his only start here with the Philadelphia Flyers, his first National Hockey League start at the age of 33. Came up with a great performance against the Winnipeg Jets. And the Flyers took that one in overtime on a Jake Voracek goal.
Older since 1926 to win his NHL debut at 33. So now a home start for Rob Zepp. All he has to do is take on the team who scores more goals than any other club per game in the NHL. It's Tampa Bay Lightning. So quite a challenge. The Flyers try to make this a winning homestand. 2-1 through the first 3 games. We're underway. Flyers in their home orange jerseys, road whites for the Lightning. And Cedric Paquette will move that puck through center. As you look at the Flyer combinations at the top of your screen. Getting to the puck here is Michael Raffl, and he'll chip it into the Tampa Bay zone. Victor Hedman, the big defenseman, is back to get to it. He would head to Paquette, and Al Filppula, he is checked. And Simmons trying to get to it. Paquette had other ideas. He then is checked by Simmons as the puck drifts away in the neutral zone. Lightning 27 wins on the year. They sit on top of the Atlantic Division. They sit on top of the Eastern Conference. If you look at their combinations, they've taken 6 consecutive games from the Flyers, including 2 this year. Flyers try to put an end to that here tonight. Right straight. Around behind the Tampa net. Now Andre Schuster, another big player for this club, to Hedman. And send it off a stick to the neutral zone. Flyers have it back. There's Andrew McDonald. Moving it ahead to Braden Shen. To Jake Voracek, who could not get the puck deep. Down at the draw the other way to Alex Killorn. Killorn in across the Philadelphia line. Goes all the way around behind the net. Harvard product out to the point. Schuster with a shot deflected and it went to the corner. Flyers will move it cross ice to McDonald. He turns it over in the neutral zone. This is dangerous with number 91 out there. It's Killorn with a shot that goes wide, and now Stamkos after the puck. Dug free by Killorn. Moves to the slot. His pass. Now back in front looking for Stamkos. Could not get there. As he tried to make the pass there. Nikita Kucherov is there in the middle of the change, but failed to connect. The Lightning will complete that change now. The Flyers will also make a line change 1 minute and 40 seconds in.
Kucherov, one of those players that tries those type of passes often. A lot of coaches would be yelling to shoot, but with Kucherov's success rate in finding players on the back door, I think John Cooper will be A-OK with that one.
24 assists this year, part of the huge line, the line that is coming up so huge for them. Here's Matt Reed with a shot. Nabokov to save. Rebound. Schultz was checked as he tried to fire that one toward the net. Now it's Coburn back. I say huge, I don't mean in stature, but they are fast and they are talented. And leaving the ice right now, Andre Palat going off the ice. Tyler Johnson and Kucherov, his line mates. They've been as productive as any line in the NHL. And it goes to show you don't have to be a top pick in the draft to be part of the big line. We'll tell you more about that as we move along.
And who would have thought Sean Couturier, the Flyers' best checking centerman, would be going head-to-head with Tyler Johnson, not Steven Stamkos' line.
That tells you all you need to know about how effective they've been. And there's the former Ranger Brian Boyle. After the puck goes out, knocks it away from him effectively. Now Lecavalier gets it to Vandevelde. Vandevelde moving out on the right wing. Carries it around behind the net and then steers it to the corner out the other side. And the Lightning get to him there. The Lightning known for their offense, but they're also very stingy in allowing shots. No team allows fewer shots per game than this Tampa Bay club. So they're known for their offense, but they're built around their defense and goaltending as well. Get a whistle, so we'll take a look at who's not playing. Radko Gudas out with a knee injury. He'll be gone for quite some time, 4 months in fact, for the Lightning. For the Flyers, Steve Mason out 2 weeks or more with the lower body injury. Zach Rinaldo remains a healthy scratch.
And Nick Grossman out, of course, and Andrew McDonald, who jumped back in the lineup after being a healthy scratch for a game. Played a very solid game against the Boston Bruins, was aggressive defensively, threw his weight around, and won a lot of puck battles.
Seemed as though he was more comfortable. Here's Lawton, a shot saved, Nabokov, rebound, jabbed away, and it's Paquette who takes it out of the blue paint. Flyers want to get as many pucks as they can at Nabokov. And they did so right there. Let's go down inside the glass for the first time tonight to Chris Therien.
Yeah, thanks very much, Jimmy. And I think when you just mentioned high draft picks and certain players at each team, you don't always have to have those guys. Well, Tampa Bay has one of their best players, a high draft pick. Second pick overall a few seasons back, Victor Hedman. This guy is a big-time defenseman. He does an awful lot for Tampa offensively and defensively, and they count on him for big minutes. As advertised.
Missed some time earlier this year. with the injury, but he's playing in his 359th NHL game already. He's only 24. So Filppula, check. Matt Carl will send it in along the boards, the former Flyer defenseman. Not too much with that. The Flyers get it back. Here's Lott. In center ice for Strider, just bank it into the Tampa zone, hoping for Raffle, but getting there first was the defenseman Mark Barberio. We'll move it ahead to Ryan Callahan, another former Ranger on this club. Back to Carl. Matt Carl playing in his 343rd consecutive game here tonight. He has not missed a game since joining the Lightning after leaving the Flyers as a free agent.
Steady player. Heads-up player. Has a little bit of offense to his game, but has really settled in nicely in Tampa Bay's defensive system as well.
Andre Schuster for the Lightning. Moving along to Drouin. Jab it past Nick Schultz off the center. Drew has it there. Stamkos chopping away at him. Now Braden Shen trying to get it back to the captain. It goes to Voracek instead. He is stopped at the Tampa line. And back the other way go the Lightning. Stamkos reaching for it. It gets in across the line. Couturier locates and now moves it ahead to Shen. Braden Shen will fake the shot, turn with it, and then just maneuver it to the circle. Umberger's shot is blocked. Now back out it goes McDonald. Looking for a seam, he'll wind, he'll blast, and it goes off from the back off and wide of the net. Couturier after it. It bounces high in the air to the circle, and the Lightning jump on it. And they'll clear the zone as Jason Garrison slides it down into Philadelphia ice. 5 minutes in, glad you could join us on Comcast Sportsnet, along with the NHL Network and Rogers Sportsnet. Coast to coast, hot and wild basically, here tonight from Philadelphia. Umberger checking Palat. Now it's set in by Hedman. No icing here. Donald after it behind the net. Lightning get it. Johnson a shot. Zepp the save and he covers. So the first test for Zepp is against Tyler Johnson, and he's able to make the stop.
And it's a very difficult save that he makes. Good work down low by the Tampa Bay Lightning. Kucherov loosens the puck up, gets it to Johnson, and Zepp is able to kick his leg across and keep it out.
Yeah, you know what's dangerous about this, Jones? It's the same side pass. So Flyers got to get their head on a swivel right there. Zepp making a very, very good play. You can see, look the other way, thinking the play was going to go back around to his blocker side. It came back out the same side. That's what Tampa Bay does well. Make good, quick plays like that. With sharp goaltending by Zepp early.
Zepp has been playing some phenomenal hockey, Lehigh Valley and the American Hockey League. Some great games since going back down after his brief stint with the big club right around the holiday. Voracek trying to step it across the Tampa Bay line. He's got the puck now, wheels with it, and now the pass to Nick Schultz, who was checked, couldn't get a clean shot off as Kucherov got his stick on. Now Voracek back across. Coburn fires one high. Off the glass behind the net. Giroux is checked, and Nabokov will move the puck along, and the Lightning will move ahead. Here's Hedman. Not afraid to join the rush. Here comes Schultz to get in his way. Now Braden Coburn to the puck. Quick pass, and Voracek has some room. He'll move up. Jake Voracek right up the gut. In across the line. Drops it back for Giroux. Giroux takes a look. Waits for some players coming off the bench. Holds. And then gets it back out to the point. Luke Shen, his shot deflection. Score! Chris Vandevelde with the redirection, and the Flyers get the first one. Just over 6 minutes into period number 1. Vandevelde scores for a case of Tasty Cakes, his 3rd of the year.
All about the patience of Claude Giroux. Voracek on the entry. Watch Giroux. Takes his time. Allows Vandevelde to come on the ice from the bench. He replaced Braden Shen on that line. Gets in front. Luke Shen with the pass shot from the point. Vandevelde does a great job with the hand-eye coordination.
What a great redirection by Vandevelde. That is such a hard play to make. And redirecting it from that backhand to his forehand. Terrific goal by the Flyers. And an excellent shot by Luke Shen, putting it in that about knee-high area. Great redirection.
Tasty Cake with all Flyers goals. Flyers with the first goal they've been very good with. Here's Delzato moving up, looking for the second goal. A shot batted away by Nabokov. Tampa Bay Lightning. Numbers will tell you it's pretty much a 2-period game. You've got to be ahead of them after 2 or you're in deep trouble. Vandevelde back net shot. Nabokov the save on Vinny Lecavalier, the long-time star for the Lightning. It's 1-0 Flyers early on.
Flyers score early here at home. Chris Vandevelde picks up the goal coming off the bench. Flyers doing a nice job in the early going, out shooting the Lightning 6-1 so far. They've done an excellent job on the entries into the offensive zone. The passing has been sharp. And the shot process has been there, firing pucks towards the net, looking for rebound opportunities, and showing great patience on the entry here, leading to the Van de Velde goal. Luke Shen picks up an assist along with Claude Giroux, and the Flyers have the 1-0 lead.
Yeah, good start by the Flyers. You can see John Cooper next to me at the last timeout. He's laying into his bench pretty good, and probably unlike Tampa Bay to start the way they have, but the Flyers have taken advantage of Del Zotto joining the last rush on a 3-on-2 as well. So great job by Philadelphia.
Flyers win the draw here and go right back to work. McDonald with the puck. Check. Simmons sent it toward the slot off of Raffl, stick to the corner. Michael Raffl chipping it back to the middle of the ice, and there's Ryan Callahan. Fired last year by the Lightning, and then signed with them in the offseason to a big contract. When he scores, they're pretty darn good. 15-0 on the Lightning since they acquired him when he scores a goal. Problem, he hasn't been scoring a whole lot lately. Shadow is on for the puck in the Tampa Bay zone. Filppula put it to the side of his own net. Now Simmons gets to it. As you mentioned, the big advantage in shots for the Flyers here early. Raffl missing the net with that offering. Sprite back on the boards. Keeps it in at the point. Bounces it across ice. Got Lawton trying to get it deeper into the zone. Now here's Simmons looking for Lawton. It got caught up in skates. Simmons has it back. Simmons a 4-game goal streak against this Tampa Bay club. Raffl to Lawton, spinning behind the net. Got Lawton, marked by Jason Garrison, got away from him, turns and fires! Save Nabokov. Nabokov had just taken a sweep with his stick to try to knock the puck away. He missed, and just got back to make the save.
Well, you can start your weekend early with the Xfinity Live Thursday night pack. Get a ticket to a select Thursday game, a free pregame appetizer, and postgame beverage, plus a $10 gift card. All at Xfinity Live on the night of the game, starting at $55.
Good job by the Flyers down low. Scotty Lawton getting those feet moving, protecting the puck. Almost a trip by Nabokov and a quick shot through. Really, again, good job by the rookie Lawton finding his legs in that zone and putting the puck to the net. That's what his coach wants from him. Get pucks to the front of the net, and he did so right there with a good chance.
Nabokov, a chat with the referee. 5 of the game's first 6 chances belong to Philadelphia. Lawton trying to go through what most rookies go through, the ups and downs of it all. Coburn floating that one toward the net. Saw the numbers, and the Flyers get the first goal, as with most teams in the NHL. Much tougher to beat when they get that first one. And Schultz sent it into the corner. After Hedman leading Matt Reed to the puck, and he'll move up. A lot across ice. Here's Johnson cutting on in. The pass in the middle is broken up. Nick Schultz to get in the way there. Now Coburn sends a pop fly. He got a little more air underneath that than he thought. Now Umberger will backhand in. You saw the Lightning, one of the few teams in the NHL, actually have above 500 points percentage when allowing the first goal. They get better as the game goes along in terms of their goal differential.
That's amazing, Jimmy. When you say that, that almost never happens.
Scoring depth, if you look at it, all 4 lines can score. And John Cooper does a nice job of using all 4 of them. He distributes the ice time pretty equally, and I think that pays dividends later in the game.
Plus 5 in the first, plus 10 in the second, plus 15 in the third, the goal differential. So now is a turnover by the Flyers. Connolly with a pass, and it was behind Brendan Morrow, the veteran. Moves the puck behind the net. Boyle tripped up, penalty. Del Zotto going for the puck. Boyle stumbled. And that's a penalty according to Ghislain Hebert, the referee. Tom Cowell also officiating here tonight. And while Del Zotto heads to the box, we tell you about checking out the CSN Philly mobile app. Get breaking news and analysis from our insiders, plus video, scores, schedules, and more. Visit csnphilly.com/app and download today.
2 former New York Rangers coming together there. The stick of Del Zotto and the feet of Boyle. Boyle goes down, and Tampa heads to the power play. They draw a ton of penalties. And the Flyers have to be real good on the PK here against a team that can zip the puck around pretty good.
And they get the face-off, so they are set up immediately. Here's Drouin. Talented rookie, back to Kyle and across to Alex Killorn. Callahan is down low. He's now in the slot. Filppula right along the goal line. Filppula takes that pass, gets it right back to Killorn for the shot. Saves Zepp, and he's able to cover with some help in the slot area.
Outstanding save again from Rob Zepp. Stays low, covers the bottom portion of the net. Tampa does a nice job and a give and go down low, and it's Killorn with the opportunity. He's basically in alone on Zepp, but Zepp's able to make the save and hold on.
Yeah, great job squaring up to the shooter, Zepp did. Didn't panic, he didn't move his body too much. He stood there, played the percentages and the angles. That's a good piece of goaltending. Seems simple, but he did a nice job.
Tampa Bay, middle of the pack in terms of their overall power play percentage. 2 for 9 against the Flyers in the first 2 games of this season series. And if you've been following the Flyers, you know they have struggled on the penalty kill. Second from the bottom in the NHL. Here's Anton Strawman across ice. Kucherov with a shot at, maybe a slap pass. It's blocked. Belmar and Vandevelde head the other way. Belmar with the puck. He had the puck, but they say he's offside, so must be he lost it just as he went across the blue line.
There's John Cooper in his 3rd season with the Tampa Bay Lightning, a terrific head coach that's got multiple weapons to use and does a great job in making sure they all stay involved in the game. Power play, you'll see Stamkos play with Tyler Johnson a lot. Kucherov goes back on the point. All 4 forwards will be out there on the number 1 unit with Strawman.
2 years ago, he was the head coach in the AHL. His team won 28 straight games, a record. And on their way to the Calder Cup, and 5 players from that team are part of the mix with Tampa Bay. So you can see how you can use the minor leagues to help build the team eventually at the NHL level, including the coach. There's Palat, back out Strawman, and now Tyler Johnson in the slot, shot, score! Very difficult to defend. Steven Stamkos right there. Another laser, and the power play goal ties this game at 1. Stamkos, with his 23rd of the year, is 7th on the power play.
Slides into a nice quiet area where he can get ready to fire the puck. Watch the stick of Stamkos. He's ready to shoot. Matt Reed tries to lift it. Stamkos feels the pressure and still able to get the stick on the puck and fire it.
Yeah, you know, like Matt Reed, he comes in, he had it. You got to get the stick up. You got to hold the stick and be prepared to keep it in there in that battle area and stay with it. Stamkos, too good of a sniper to leave with the puck alone right there, and tough save for Zepp to make, obviously, in what is now a 1-1 game on that goal.
18th career goal for Stamkos in his 23rd career game against the Flyers. He's got numbers like that against a lot of teams, but that's almost a goal a game pace.
And you know that Matt Reed's staring at the back of that number. He knows it's Steven Stamkos. It's a play that you have to make to stay strong against him. If you don't, he's going to bury it.
Yeah, and you're out there for that one reason. That's your responsibility in the middle, and you got to pick it up. Pick up the stick right there, stay with the man. He's the most dangerous player on the ice.
Tyler Johnson knows how to get him the puck. Yeah, not on the same line at even strength, but some of the points we've talked about with that line, some of that's come from Tyler Johnson on the power play for Tampa Bay when he does play with Stamkos at times. So we're tied at 1. 8:44 remaining in this first period. Boyle ahead. One gets through Connolly. Zepp out to play it behind the net. Move it quickly. Sideboard. It bounces off of Delzato. Braden Shen moves it to Voracek in center. Voracek will push it to the right wing boards. Marked there by Garrison. Stutter step move. Garrison stays right with him. Drew in to help out his buddy, but the puck bounces to Boyle, who will clear the zone. Luke Shen has it there. Pass tipped by Giroux, looking for Shen, and he eludes him. Delzato carries on. Michael Delzato will fight off the checking with Schuster. Morrow has his pass knocked down. But the Lightning able to gather, and here is Stamkos. Stamkos saying the other day he has even more to give than he has this year. He's headed to the All-Star game, yes, but feels he can be better. Here's Drouin. And now Zepp bumped into by Stamkos. Definite contact, but no call. As the battle for the puck won by the Flyers, and they clear.
Stamkos got away with one there, driving to the net, kind of lost his balance, took a piece of Rob Zepp, and the referees were looking the other way.
Yeah, little star power treatment there, Jonesy. And Stamkos not a guy who's dirty, and he probably got away with his reputation of being a pretty good guy on the ice. That was a penalty.
Here's Drouin moving up. Back out, off the bench. Shot. Saves Zepp off of Johnson. Now Drouin looking for the puck again. They center it back through, and it was Zepp who broke it up. The Flyers don't clear. Strawman keeps it in. Around behind, Schultz trying to tie up Drouin. And good work, comes away with the puck. Rookie get his game together at the NHL level. He will also head to Columbus as part of the young Stars game, rookies competition in skills. Right, turns it over. Centering pass, though, out of the reach of Johnson. Kucherov couldn't get that one on target. Palat has it in center. Hedman to Kucherov. Now the pass in the middle. Knocked away from Johnson. Carl will send it into the Philadelphia zone. Gets to the corner boards. McDonald laid it off the board. Belmar has it, looking for LeCavalier, but could not make a connection with him. So now it's Hedman. Surveying as he drops back. A head off the stick of Johnson, who gets decked in center after deflecting the puck into the Philadelphia zone. Ross's pass there, off the stick of Vandenbelde, but it's gathered by Palat. Andre Palat, twisting and turning. Back out to Carl. Wrist shot blocked by Vandenbelde. And now it's Johnson with his top line for the Lightning out against the fourth line for the Flyers. Vandenbelde get it ahead. Now LeCavalier looking for Belmar. Jabbed away. Back out to the red line. Del Zotto. Back ahead to LeCavalier. LeCavalier in front, redirected wide by Raffl. Flyers in the middle of the change now as Raffl gets to Laughton. Laughton maybe behind the net. Raffl drifted back. And the puck to Paquette. Now Hedman and Raffl in after. Laughton joins in the scrum. And the Flyers come away with the puck. But Raffl is quickly checked. Hedman comes up with it and chips one out to the neutral zone.
Lots of layers there defensively for Tampa Bay. A couple of puck battles won by the Flyers and another Tampa Bay Lightning defender in the way.
Now the puck into the Tampa Bay zone. Callahan is bumped. Simmons to the puck looking for Laughton. He's bodied by Garrison, who also comes away with the puck. And it's Paquette the other way. And he'll just sift that one into the Philadelphia zone as the Lightning will go for a change. Callahan, a hit on Schultz. Simmons is checked. And to help him is Luke Schenn, but the Lightning come away with it. Callahan centering in front, blocked by Luke Schenn. Callahan gets it back. To the point, Garrison. Across for Andre Schuster. He'll just wrist one, deflected, goes high in the air off the glass behind the net. Lightning find it, but the centering pass by Morrow ends up going all the way down the ice.
Couple strong plays by Luke Schenn here. He picked up the assist on the goal by Vandenbelde. Good solid contact with Tyler Johnson. And a good defensive play in that last sequence.
Brett pass to Brett Connolly. Nifty a little pass to Boyle. His soft shot flutters into the midsection of Zepp. He hangs on. We'll be back.
Look right there at Rob Zepp. There's a few highlights of his first start and last start in Winnipeg, and I'll tell you what, he was nothing short of sensational. He's the reason the Flyers ended up really having a chance in the third to win it. Look at his save right there. At the end of the second, that gave the Flyers a chance in the third. His first win, I asked him after, you can see him with his puck, did it feel like he finally got to the top of Mount Everest? And he said, you know what, that's a good way of putting it, and yes, I do. You know, a lot of guys go through this experiences, Jonesy, at 21, 22, 20, some at 18. Rob Zepp at 33 and the oldest goalie to win a game since, I believe, 1926, if I'm not mistaken. That's a great story for the league this year.
Well, to get his first win at that age is something. Here's a 2-on-1 possibly for the Flyers. Voracek and Schenn. And they're going to say offside. Voracek trying to keep that a 2-on-1, so he was on a beeline for the Tampa Bay line, and he beat the puck into the zone. He's not arguing. Offside the call there.
A very good story, though, with Rob Zepp.
We'll give tonight's Jeep trivia question to the game. Chris, what is Steven Stamkos' career high for goals in a season? It's also a Tampa Bay record. 50, 57, or 60? He was 23 this year. And, you know, we talk about the collision he had with Zepp earlier in this game. He got injured last year going hard to the net. Remember in Boston, broke his leg and missed a huge chunk of the season. And there are those who say he hasn't been driving the net quite as quickly, but he was driving the net on that play.
He was, and you can add excitement to your work week with the all-new Bud Light Tuesday Night Pack. Enjoy a ticket to a select Tuesday game, a hot dog, and 24-ounce beverage starting at $55. Get that at PhiladelphiaFlyers.com. Here's what Steven Stamkos was doing, driving the net there, and he gets a piece of Rob Zepp. No penalty called on the play, but it was interference with the Flyers netminder, and Steven Stamkos gets away with one there after picking up the power play goal to get things even at 1-1.
Flyers win this draw, move it out of the zone. Coburn will get to it. Pass on the money to Umberger. RJ Umberger now will find Matt Reed up the left wing. Reed coming off one of his better games of the year. Got it in front. Umberger backhander. Score! Umberger gives the Flyers the lead right back. 2-1. Umberger picks up his 7th of the year as he scores for a case of tasty cake. Dirty but good, as they say.
It was dirty. Umberger does a nice job following up the play. Matt Reed makes up for his defensive mistake against Steven Stamkos and gets some puck luck there. Rolls up the stick of Nabokov and right up the top shelf as Nabokov can't come up with it. Umberger celebrates the goal.
Yeah, you know what? Nabokov created a ramp for the puck. He didn't have the stick flat facing downwards. Provided a little bit of a ski ramp, and the puck jumped up into the top part of the net. So good job by Umberger staying with it. He's going to the front of the net.
Umberger beginning to find the net with some frequency, and the Flyers need that scoring depth behind Giroux and Voracek. And RJ just shows that at regular speed. Kane camera, he can maybe get away, saying that he shelved that. He did it. Eventually shelf it, right?
It looked good. It hit the top of the net.
White shot here by Luke Schenn is blocked. We'll get the puck back and then get to Simmons. Just over 3 minutes remaining in this first period. The Flyers back on top, but Lightning intercept. That might have hit the linesman on its way into the zone. Raffl gets the puck to Lawton. And Lawton will just shovel one deep into Tampa Bay ice. Flyers still with a shot advantage here, 8-5. Jason Garrison on several pickups by Steve Yzerman during the offseason. Lightning played out to center, right back in, but they're going to call icing on Philadelphia.
Bellemare doing a nice job in the neutral zone there, staying with Steven Stamkos. Stamkos having a conversation with the referee. Didn't like the way that Bellemare had a little bit of a tug on his stick there. Bellemare's very aware when number 91's on the ice for the Tampa Bay Lightning, as are his line mates.
Bellemare and Stamkos on this draw. Stamkos wins it. To Lorne. Now it's Bellemare taking control. Passes it to the Cavalier. He's surrounded. Does maneuver the puck to strike, and the Flyers look to move up the ice. McDonald, though, checked by Drouin. And being harassed by Drouin behind the net. Kept him away from the puck. Strike for the Cavalier, but he's checked. Lightning very aggressive on the forecheck here in terms of giving the Flyers very little room to work with, and it did cause some turnovers. Flyers do finally clear the zone. Center ice, Drouin, Bellemare come together. Bellemare hit the ice. The Lightning move up. Barberio in across the line, wipes out. At the top of him went Bellemare. Now a hit on Vandevelde as he plays the puck into the Tampa Bay zone. Lightning have certainly picked up the checking tempo since about the first 5 minutes of this game.
Got their skating legs. The Flyers doing a nice job of matching that intensity. You just have to make good, quick, hard plays defensively because your Tampa Bay Lightning will be on you in a hurry.
Braden Coburn's outlet here goes off his stick, and Anton Strawman will pick it up. Another former Ranger on this Tampa Bay club. Backhanded out through the neutral zone. Nick Schultz is back for Philadelphia.
Big pieces of that Rangers team that went to the Stanley Cup final last year that don't seem to be missed that bad by the Rangers.
Rangers playing some great hockey. These guys also fitting in here. There's Kucherov. Slice to Palat in the middle for Johnson, but Johnson beat the puck into the zone. Minute, 7 seconds left in the first. Well, if it's dynamic duos you want, you come to the right place. Flyers, Lightning, Voracek and Giroux, of course, for the Flyers, and they are at the top of the list. 97 points between the two. But Tyler Johnson and Steven Stamkos, and Tyler Johnson and Nikita Kucherov are also on that top list. Malkin and Crosby climbing, as Malkin has been red hot of late. And just off that list, Patrick Kane and Jonathan Toews, not a bad duo either, but boy, they're piling up the points.
And the guy that doesn't get mentioned, Andre Palat, who is just an outstanding two-way player for the Tampa Bay Lightning, playing with Johnson and Kucherov. And when he was out of the lineup, Tampa had some difficulties winning games. When he returned, that line has been outstanding, and he has a lot to do with it.
Icing the call against Tampa there. They say that Palat and Tyler Johnson are just players that when they hit the ice together, unbelievable chemistry. And then once they put Kucherov with him, the line completely took off, although obviously Palat and Johnson were very successful at times last year. And there is Palat, who did miss those 4 games, and when he was out, he was certainly missed. They are all plus 20 or better. And the disparity between their plus-minus and the rest of the team is big. There's a shot by Matt Reed, handled by Nabokov. I think that's when that plus-minus can really come into play, when you see a big difference on the same team. And those guys are well ahead of the pack with Tampa Bay Lightning. Steven Stamkos, for instance, came into the game tonight -1.
A big reason why Sean Couturier has been going up against Tyler Johnson's line. Johnson leaves the ice, Stamkos comes on, and Claude Giroux's line comes out. They'll go head-to-head with the Stamkos unit.
Flyers have been able to limit the Lightning into their shots on goal. Just 5. Here's Schultz, one of save Nabokov. Flyers now at double figures, which isn't something you often do against Tampa Bay.
Good face-off win again. Claude Giroux digging down deep against Filppula and does a nice job on the forehand getting it to Schultz, who fires it all in one motion. That's a difficult shot to make for Schultz, and he gets it on net.
Speaking of the shots, their last game, the Lightning had 27 of them in one period. Middle period against Buffalo. Didn't score a single goal.
And Buffalo did.
Yeah. How about
Short-handed.
that? Minus when you get 27 shots on goal. They did eventually win the game. And of course getting the game winner in the third.
Cody McCormick scored that goal for Buffalo. Now he's out with a blood clot.
In his leg, right?
Yeah, with the calf. Our best wishes for him, a quick recovery.
Timonen getting his tests very soon. See the status of his blood clots and whether there's any chance he could return this season. Offside the call at the Tampa Bay line. Kimo, by the way, named the winner of the Good Guy Award. Philadelphia sports writers have their banquet later this week, the 16th, Crown Plaza in South Jersey. So Kimo Timonen, certainly we can vouch for that. Truly a good guy.
No doubt about it. And R.J. Umberger feeling good about his game right now after he picked up a goal there from Matt Reed. Craig Berube happy with the way the Couturier line has performed of late. Thought Matt Reed had his best game of the season against the Boston Bruins, where he generated a bunch of offensive opportunities.
Final 14 seconds of this first period. Stamkos with a pass to Killorn, and now to Drouin moving up. Nice play by Del Zotto to knock that puck away just as it looked like Drouin was going to cut past him. Now it's Killorn. Back to the blue line for Carl, and he just lets the first period run its course. So a good period for the Flyers. R.J. Umberger breaks a 1-1 tie with a goal late in the period. It's 2-1 Philadelphia after 20 minutes. Although it's only semi-retirement, he will be participating in the pre- and post-game broadcast for the Lightning down in Florida, but not traveling with the club. And does a great job. He's really taught that market all about hockey.
Terrific guy and a terrific analyst. Going to miss the Chief being on the games, but he doesn't have to bring the suitcase anymore when he goes to work. He can just show up in Tampa, and the fans will still be able to see him and listen to him there.
And of course, also a member of the Stanley Cup champion Philadelphia Flyers, his backup goaltender.
He'll be hanging out with his buddy Phil Esposito, who does really a lot of the home stuff now too. So, a couple Stanley Cup champions there, guys.
Bruce Taylor, of course, with the Lightning when they did win their Stanley Cup back for the second of the NHL lockouts. He's done well in Tampa. Doing well right now. This team's sitting atop the Eastern Conference. Garoppolo after the puck. Checked by Callahan. Second period well underway. Flyers go off. Play it in the neutral zone. Luke Schenn cross ice. Simmons a redirect pass hoping for Giroux. Tried to spring Giroux and Schenn on a 2-on-1. Luke Schenn to the puck at the red line. Will wind it in. Voracek waiting for it. Voracek in the middle. Braden Schenn after it. Now it's Giroux. Shots blocked. Goes behind the net to Voracek. Out the other side. Trying to get free in front. Could not. But for the reasons he could not, he was being hooked. So a penalty against Tampa Bay, and the Flyers will get their first power play.
The puck possession game of Jake Voracek again draws Tampa Bay defender, who is forced to take the hooking penalty right there. Matt Carl puts the stick between the legs. Voracek in a dangerous place whenever he comes out from behind the net. Carl, in recognition of that, takes the penalty, and the Flyers head to the power play.
It's a power move by Voracek that causes a commotion for Carl. Puts the hooks in on him, and it's a good job by Jake, as usual.
The Flyers, that advantage unit, gets its first opportunity. Straight with the puck. To Giroux, and now Simmons whips it back through the slot. Nobody home though, and that goes out to the neutral zone. Flyers power play for the season. If you look at the McDonald's power play payoff contestant, Remains right up there near the top of the NHL, does this power play unit. 5th rank. Here at home, 2nd best in the NHL. Garrison will backhand. That is knocked down. He's back to the point. Strite is there. Voracek. Long for Simmons. Out to Giroux. Giroux, 2nd in the league in power play points. Strite, Voracek shot. He scores! Jake Voracek, looking very much like an all-star. Blasts it past Nabokov. Flyers lead 3-1. Voracek with his 17th of the year scores for a case of Tasty Cake.
It's what makes the Flyers power play so dangerous, especially here at home. It's the ability of both Giroux and Voracek on the half wall. Both players are an option to shoot. This time it's Voracek after some good work by Giroux along the opposite wall. Strite sets up Voracek and he blasts it home.
Yeah, and you know, that's the kind of chance you want in a power play. You know, you get the puck back to the point, hard work by Giroux, and then a one-timer over to, you know, one of your great shooters and scorers in Voracek. So good power play goal by the Flyers. Gives themselves some cushion here.
5th straight game for the Flyers in which their power play has registered a goal. But here come the Lightning right back. Drouin getting to the puck, but offside is whistled. Offside. Set there by Derek Nansen. So, face off in the neutral zone. Voracek adds to his National Hockey League leading point total. 51 on the year. Giroux has 2 points in this game. He's up to 48.
Good start on his birthday.
Indeed. 27th birthday for Claude Giroux. He has scored a goal once before.
Yes,
On
5
his
years
birthday.
ago on his birthday. 2010.
But tonight he's opted for helpers, which he's been piling those up against the Tampa Bay Lightning in recent contests between these two clubs. 7-game point streak now for Giroux against Tampa Bay. All assists. The Lightning get the puck here. Barberio to the backhand, blocked by Delzato. Killorn gets to it behind the net. Putting up the wall. Now it's Killorn turning with it, but he's checked and the Flyers take control. Vandevelde send it to Delzato. Delzato will skate this one right on in and centers. It goes in on goal. Save Nabokov. Now another shot. Redirection. Score! Pierre-Edouard Bellemare is on the board. And the Flyers now lead 4-1. Bellemare scores for a case of Tasty Cake. Ends a long drought. He had gone 28 in a row without a goal. And it's going to lead to a goaltending change for the Lightning.
Michael Delzato again aggressive on the entry. Carries the puck all the way in. Forces the Tampa Bay Lightning defenders to turn and try to find the puck. They can't come up with it. A beautiful feed from the point and the hand-eye coordination of Bellemare. Vandevelde picks up the assist and a tap-in right there.
2 goals in 53 seconds, guys, and John Cooper with a look of disgust about his goaltender Nabokov not having his best game for sure, but the Flyers with good pressure in the offensive zone. Nice redirection by Bellemare. That's a pretty nice, sweet pair of hands he showed off right there. Yeah, that line's been very, very good. And Ben Bishop, who Tampa was saving for Boston tomorrow night, is going to get himself 37 minutes of hockey here tonight, too.
There's Kucherov moving up. The Flyers get a couple of goals. After just 51 seconds. And have increased their lead from 1 to 3. Strite lobbing that one up to the neutral zone. Couturier after it. Carl tips it back to Schuster. Now Carl finding some room. Carl across the Flyer line. A shot gloved by Zepp. He'll hang on.
For the second time in a week, the Philadelphia Flyers have a defenseman that's missing from the bench that started the game. Nicholas Grossman against Washington left and has not returned. Colburn there blocks a shot on Kucherov on the instep of his foot. Colburn did play a couple of shifts after that, but has not returned to the Flyers here in the second period.
Grimacing, I saw Jones. I didn't know what it was in the first period. That replay confirms it. He's had foot injuries already this year, and he wears the guard, so a tough injury right there.
Cross-ice pass, shot there by Garrison, just wide of the Philadelphia net. And now it's directed out of the zone by LeCavalier. Garrison has to go back and play it. The Flyers, who were talking about 8 healthy defensemen not too long ago, Down to 6. Just at the moment. Keep an eye if Coburn comes back or get a report. Garrison cross-ice pass here to Morrow, and now it's Barberio flipping one. That redirected and went wide, perhaps off of Zepp. And now Garrison out to play it in the neutral zone. Flyers trying to tip that puck away in center, and they do. Now they'll send it in. The Flyers will complete a change. As Bishop can handle the puck. Moves it along to Garrison and then out of the zone. Here's Andrew McDonald to strike and neatly ahead. Scott Lawton with speed in across the line to Simmons. Simmons in on goal. Save Bishop. Rebound ricocheted away from Lawton. Went hard to the net. Get it back to the point. Strike down low for Simmons. Couldn't track it down behind the net. He was after it along the boards. Callahan impedes his progress. Lawton recovers the puck, but tried to step around Stallman and could not. Now here's Paquette ahead, but not out of the zone. McDonald sends it to the corner. Another tip pass for Raffl. Raffl leaned on and outnumbered, and Paquette will get the puck and clear to the line. Not out. McDonald get. Well, they say it did get out. Would have been a delayed offside there, but the Lightning move it to center ice, so no whistle. Donald sends it right back out to center. There's Giroux off the bench to find the puck in his skates. Gets it to Voracek. Brewing into the right wing. Drops it back out. Giroux shot! And that one took off. And where is it? It was in the equipment of Barberio, and then a pass for Giroux off the mark. And Paquette goes the other way to Johnson. Tyler Johnson on the left wing. Slams on the brakes. Paquette is there. Ridden into the boards. And now the puck set out to the neutral zone by Voracek. Right back in. Kucherov decides to go back out now to Schuster. We passed the 5-minute mark of this second period. 4-1 Philadelphia lead. Palat met at the Philadelphia line by Schultz. And Schuster gets it back. His pass off the stick, and Voracek has it. Then across the line, Voracek. His pass blocked. Second try. Got it through, but then Schenn was checked. And the Lightning emerged with the puck. Here's Palat. Not doing anything with that. Rosado has it back. Drop it off. Voracek digs it off the wall and then moves it ahead to Giroux. Giroux weaving his way to the neutral zone. In across the line. Waits, turns, stutter step move, and then shuffles it for Del Zotto. Zotto marked by Kucherov. And take it into the boards. Kucherov takes the puck away. Pass out of the zone though by Stamkos. Broken up. Flyers have it back. Braden Schenn spinning it to the middle. Shot! That one knocked down as Couturier. That bit, he's back after the puck now. Trying to get it from Palat, as was Umberger. It bounces to Reed, to Couturier. Couturier check, Reed follows up, shot! Off of Bishop, now it's Couturier behind the net. Right to center. On Couturier. Take it to the boards. Stamkos trying to stay with him. And the Lightning outnumbering Couturier in a pretty big way there, 3-on-1. Couturier, great job, finally knocked down. Kyle wants a penalty, won't get it. Flyers get the puck. There's a penalty call now. Here's Umberger, shot, save, Bishop. Into the corner, it's Reed. Delayed call against the Lightning. Here's Strike to Reed. Reed, right at the line. Hits it in along the wall. Umberger. Checked by Carl, and the Lightning get the puck, and there's the whistle. But the Flyers will go to the power play. They have the lead, and they'll go to the man advantage when we return.
Carl sitting down 4 minutes here for high sticking on Sean Couturier. Right down in the corner, Matt Carl staying with it. Came up, hit Coots right in that upper lip, right below the nose. It's a nice power play opportunity. I had time to have a look at our Geico quote of the night. And it is Jake Voracek talking about what an honor it is and how he got himself to become an NHL All-Star. He's very, very excited. Obviously his first one, so you know what, guys? I think he said it all at the end. He worked hard for where he's at. He's had a great start to the year, and deservedly so. He is, him and Drew, will both be All-Stars, and we'll have a lot of fun in his former town of Columbus.
That's, I think, what adds to it so much more. It's in Columbus where he began his career. Flyers, 1-minute power play, straight a shot, he scores! The power play remains red hot, and it's 5-1 Philadelphia. Strike scores for a case of tasty cakes. As the Flyers pouring it on.
John Cooper wasn't happy at the commercial break and let his team know it. He can't be happy about this. All 5 Flyers on the ice handle the puck. Outstanding movement, and Strite ends up burying it. Great passing to move that puck around quickly and on the tape.
That is terrific passing, Jonesy, as you said. 5 guys touching it. in a very, pretty small area when you consider the 4 Tampa Bay players had their sticks in those lanes. And here's the good news for the Flyers. They still got 2 minutes of power play time. The bad news for the Lightning is they got to try to stop this again and score a 5-1 here, not even halfway through the game.
You saw that Streit ending a long goal. Streit has been piling up the assists. 15 to make that now 16 assists. He has an assist in this game in his last 19 games, but he hadn't scored a goal in that stretch. Now he can say he has. And the Flyers, just mentioned, looking for more. Still on the man advantage, second unit out, Delzato the shot! And that one knocked aside by Bishop with Umberger right in his lap. Back out it goes, Lecavalier. He'd love to get one against his former club. Delzato back to Lecavalier, waits, fires! Deflected away in front. Harrison after the puck. Couturier, Umberger over there with him. And another penalty upcoming. Another penalty upcoming against Tampa Bay, delayed call. Here's Lecavalier, waiting, back to Delzato. Delzato will blast, save Bishop, rebound Couturier. Couldn't quite get the backhander off. And finally the whistle stopping play, but the Flyers will go to a 2-man advantage as the Lightning coming unglued here.
Another high stick here. RJ Umberger's rubbing his nose as well. Not sure whose stick caught Umberger. Johnson's the player that they're sending to the box. Keep an eye on Vinny Lecavallier's stick right there, though. It's the Flyers stick that catches Umberger. Tyler Johnson had an argument. He was right, and the Flyers catch a break.
Well, when it goes south like this, guys, you've seen what happens, and it goes south all the way. And that's what's happening for Tampa Bay. Things are moving. Everything's going the Flyers' way in this game. And Tampa Bay now is in dire straits already, forced to kill a lethal power play of 5-on-3 right now.
Flyers are up to 19 shots on goal against a team that averages allowing 26 for the entire game, and we're not even halfway through regulation time, and they're about to start a 2-man advantage. 1:08 remaining on the Carl minor, the second minor. On him, the turnover here by Simmons. Paquette is skated to the center. Voracek over there. Flyers have lost Braden Coburn. He's not come back to the bench. Here's Voracek roaring into the Tampa Bay zone, and a goal! And he goes up high with a shot. And Simmons will wrap it around behind. Drew over to it. Flyers set up the 2-man advantage. Strike to Giroux. All the way through to Strike. Slight juggle of the puck. Gets it back to Voracek. Couldn't get that shot through as it was blocked by Boyle. Voracek will keep it in across to Strike. Down low, Schenn. Schenn the shot. He scores! A laser from Brayden Schenn ends a 15-game goal. Stroud makes it 6-1 Philadelphia. Brayden Schenn, the latest to score for a case of Tasty Cake.
This is all about the shot. He just rips this shot above the glove hand of Ben Bishop. What a snapshot that is. Bishop can't come up with it. The Flyers continue to pound the Lightning.
Doesn't matter who Tampa has in nets. That hits the front shoulder part of Ben Bishop up into the top corner. This is a clinic the Flyers are putting on the power play, and guess what? They're still on it.
They are indeed. Minute 10 remaining on the Johnson penalty. It was a break for sure for the Flyers. Taking advantage of it. Here's Delzato. His pass tipped and stolen by Ryan Callahan. He'll clear it all the way down. The Flyers with 4 goals here in the first 8:37 of the second period. Reed. And across the line. Deals to Couturier. Couturier around behind the net. Will bank it back out to Delzato. Now it's Couturier. To Lecavalier. The McDonald's power play payoff contestant. Now Lecavalier high slot. His pass was missed by Reed. Umberger jams it away from Carl to keep it alive. Lecavalier is checked by Filppula. And Filppula will move it to center ice. Number Red Wing. And they'll dump it back to waste some time here. Just 15 seconds remaining on the power play. The Flyers, who had not scored more than 3 goals in their last 8 games, have 6 as we hit the halfway point of this game. Go figure. And now they move up, but over is Garrison to swat that one out of play.
Well,
power play is over.
You can spend a fun afternoon, hopefully like a night like tonight, at the Wells Fargo Center on March the 1st, rubbing elbows with your favorite Flyers during this year's Flyers Wives Carnival. Visit PhiladelphiaFlyers.com/carnival to buy early and save. This has been a crazy game here, just midway through the second period. And the Flyers put a 6 spot on the Tampa Bay Lightning. Lightning just 6 shots on goal through half a game.
And we, in fact, hit the midpoint of regulation time as the Lightning move into the zone. Stamkos to Drouin, back across ice. Here's Garrison, a shot! And Rob Zepp makes the save and no rebound. 6-1 Philadelphia.
Welcome back to Philadelphia. There's Luke Schenn. Luke Schenn is the winner of tonight's Wells Fargo. Great check of the game on Tyler Johnson. Set the physical tone. You know what? Flyers did a lot of good things early in this game. The physical did a great job in the neutral zone, getting pucks in, and they set the tone for what is now a 6-1 lead. Just past the halfway mark of the second period. Everything's gone right for the Flyers tonight, guys, in Tampa Bay here. With 30 minutes to go, we're going to try to find a way to make this game interesting.
Well, they have the firepower to do it, so the Flyers have to keep the foot on the gas pedal. Lopala cutting off a check, gets it back out. Boyle shot wide of Zepp. Raffle over, but didn't get much on the clearing attempt. And here come the Lightning trying to cause some trouble in the offensive zone. Raffle will win this battle, get it ahead to Simmons. And Simmons stood up at the Tampa Bay line, and now play is called on the offside.
It was Brian Boyle holding the line there defensively, and Tampa missing the defenseman goes with 4 forwards out there for that shift. Boyle played defense with Strawman. We have not seen Victor Hedman this period. And Brian Boyle goes back and plays the blue line for John Cooper. We're seeing a bit of everything in this game.
Well, you're down 6-1, you can try things, that's for sure. Not sure Brian Boyle wouldn't have made a great defenseman about 15 years ago growing up, but probably not loving it tonight here the way the Flyers are playing offensively.
Well, Hedman had something to keep an eye on. He's a huge part of this team, right up there among the ice time leaders. Plays in all areas of the game. Sean Couturier ahead. That was an errant pass, jammed back into the Philadelphia zone, and here's Couturier. Drop it back as the Flyers look to organize the attack. Flyers have allowed just 7 shots in the first 31 minutes of the game here. They allowed 4 shots to Boston in the final 34 minutes of that game. They have been very stingy of late. The intensity here might be to sit back, and you just can't do that against this Tampa Bay team. Johnson trying to center. Kucherov finds the puck. Pass off a stick, kept in by Barberio. He then fires it high off the glass. Sprite able to get to it. Pass ahead to Umberger. Now Reed. Head for Umberger, could not get it into the Tampa Bay zone. Right up on the play, trying to get it ahead to Umberger, but it's Filppel who knocks it down. Now it's back to Reed. Right, will just backhand this one over the head of Garrison. He'll have to go back and get it. Mason Garrison played some good years in Florida and went on to Vancouver. Now back in the state of Florida playing for Tampa. Pass to Paquette to the Philadelphia line. And that one an easy save. Zepp is going to put it down and take the whistle. There are very few professional athletes that complete, or at least compete at the highest level in their sport when they reach the age of 50. Future Hall of Fame boxer Bernard Hopkins is one of them. Take a look back at his career, what a career it's been, and what may lie ahead. Watch Hopkins at 50 Wednesday night at 6:30 only on Comcast Sportsnet.
Tyler Johnson was in a little discomfort when he went to the bench for the Tampa Bay Lightning. I'm not sure what his status will be for his next shift. He's in a long discussion with the trainer.
Schenn to the puck. Cross for Giroux. He is checked by Strawman. And the Lightning get the puck back. It'll be a very expensive evening for the Lightning. Now it's Killorn. Taken by Luke Schenn. Head for Voracek. Voracek turns it over to Stamkos, who fires it high and wide. Now Killorn. Killorn. Back toward the point, and Voracek will tip it to center. Now it's a race for the puck. Out comes Bishop. He'll beat Voracek to it and clear the zone. Went off of Schenn back in. Bishop still out of the net. Plays it back to the neutral zone. Now it's LeCavalier at the Tampa Bay line, trying to move the puck deep. Boyle is over. And now it's off Paquette's glove, and racing back is Delzato. Told that Tyler Johnson just went to the Tampa Bay locker room. So Hedman and Johnson not on the Tampa Bay bench right now. Coburn not on the Philadelphia bench.
Johnson looked real sore as he kind of limped through the tunnel into the locker room and was trying to put some weight on his left leg.
Zepp alert there as the puck got into the blue paint. He jumps on it.
Well, you said it, Jimmy. You talk about Tampa Bay losing those two guys. I don't know the extent of those injuries, but boy, it could be a tough home stretch half season if they have major injuries like those two.
Take a look and see if we can see what happened to Tyler Johnson. Number 9 in white there gets kind of tripped up there and lands awkwardly on his side.
Kind of got like he looks like he got to jam his skate into the ice or something, and either maybe could have twisted his knee is what I was thinking, Jones, just on that. But you never know. I don't want to speculate, but he's out nonetheless.
Donald clears that one up, and it deflects out of play. Mark Streit for the Flyers has had another productive evening. And he's added 2 more assists and a goal to his total. The assist, he's tied for first among Eastern Conference blue liners in assists. And overall now tied for 4th among all defensemen in the NHL in points.
Yeah, continues to rack up the points. Does a terrific job in quarterbacking that Flyers power play and picked up the goal in this game as well. So good on him, especially in the absence of 2 veteran defensemen lately. Coburn has left this game and hasn't returned yet, and Nicholas Grossman out for a few weeks.
Barbario will go across ice here. The pass for Kucherov intercepted by Reed. Hit across the Tampa line. Reed with a shot deflected out of play by Carl. 5:59 remain here in the second period. All Philadelphia so far.
Sean Couturier gets tonight's Independence Blue Cross Fearless play. Battle in the corner. Matt Carl in there looking for the stick that comes right up. It's Sean Couturier right in that nose, right above the lip. Gets 4, draws a 4-minute power play. They go on it, and the Flyers do not disappoint this sold-out crowd in Philadelphia. Filling the net, Sean Couturier with the Independence Blue Cross Fearless play gave the Flyers a chance to let their power play explode.
Bakov sitting on the bench after getting his first start since mid-December. Did not go well.
Looked like it too.
Flyers have also shown they can score on Ben Bishop since he entered the game. This puck goes all the way down. Zepp for Voracek. Voracek shoveled. That's taken by Korn. Gotten back by the Flyers. Voracek moves it ahead. It's checked though. Tampa Bay will send it back to the neutral zone. 5:37 remaining in this second period. Injuries certainly part of the story here tonight as well for both clubs. Giroux stopped. I'll say this, the Lightning haven't given up in terms of the checking game. Schuster shot that goes high and wide. Flyers get to the puck here. Giroux checked again. Now Schenn maneuvers it offensive side of the red line and pushes it in. Flyers will go for a change. Now Garris. Center ice. Connolly loses to Simmons. Across the line, the right wing dish for Lawton. Lawton to the backhand. Got shot. Rebound. Raffl scores! Nice little maneuver by Lawton, and then Raffl picks up the garbage in front, and he knew what to do with it. 7-1 Philadelphia. Raffl scores for a case of Tasty Cakes.
Flyers as a team have been outstanding in the checking department in this game. Wayne Simmons does a nice job in the neutral zone and then starts the rush the other way. Lawton drives it towards the net, chips one there, and there's Michael Raffl standing just outside the blue paint.
You're right, turnover in the neutral zone. Excellent stick by Lawton, and Simmons makes a nice play. What a net drive by the rookie to Lawton. That's good hockey. Provided the opportunity for Raffl to get the rebound. That's just Richard Murphy talking.
Well, the Flyers with 5 second period goals. And a 6-goal lead. There's a shot blocked. Boyle takes one, that goes off. The Flyers stick it into the net. It went off off a Flyer stick high into the air over the shoulder of Zepp and in, and the Lightning get one back. It's 7-2.
It's a team that can score in a lot of different ways, and Rob Zepp looks on and looks to see exactly what happened in front of him. Delzato defending. Strollman's shot originally from the point is blocked, and then Boyle playing defense now, fires it to the net. It hits the stick of Michael Delzato and goes up, and over.
And he breaks as the Philadelphia Flyers have had in this game. The way they've created them, Tampa Bay gets their own little bit of luck here. And it looks like they may have hit strike. I'm not sure. That's not going to be the goal from the defenseman, guys. I don't think a high stick initially looking at it was part of that whole sequence, but the shot was taken. I thought it hit strike, bounced up, and probably the only good bounce that's gone Tampa Bay's way in this game. It found its way past a surprised Rob Zepp to say the least.
We'll be taking a look to see if Ryan Callahan took a swing at the puck when it was up above the crossbar. I don't think Callahan made contact. He pointed directly to Brian Boyle when the puck went in. There's the stick of straight, and there's the puck up. It was Morrow that swung at it and missed.
Yeah, he missed.
Then it rolled into the net there. So this goal will count, and the defenseman on that occasion, Brian Boyle, picks up the goal, and he continues to line up as a defenseman here for the next shift.
The way it's gone for the Flyers tonight, it's almost surprised Brendan Morrow didn't touch the puck.
View is confirmed. The white player's stick never touched the puck. It's a good hockey goal.
Had Morrow's stick touched it, of course it wouldn't have been a goal, but that's not the case. And Boyle gets it from playing the point.
So Boyle on the board as he continues to play on defense with Victor Hedman at least out for the Lightning. So it is 7-2. Here come the Lightning looking for more. Filppula turns with it. And drops it off for Boyle. Boyle, Connolly, and now it's Boyle moving down low, but he's stripped of the puck by McDonald. Andrew McDonald hesitated there. Now he'll flip it along the boards. It makes its way to Simmons, who will just pop it out to the neutral zone. Glove down there by Strawman. He gets to Connolly. Connolly in the middle. Killorn, a shot blocked. Bounces to Connolly. All the way across ice. Hopped over Strawman's stick. And now it bounces into the corner. Killorn got one Flyer away from the puck. Connolly gets to it. Offensive zone time here for the Lightning. Carl keeps it in. His pass into the middle. Goes to the corner. Filppula is there. Back out. Barberio across. The shot. Blocked in front. Rebound. Killorn could not get to it. Oh, that original shot, but it was blocked in front. Now Lawton backhands out to the neutral zone. A little energy from the Lightning after scoring the goal. Flyers trying to change here. Lightning tried to take advantage. Stamkos couldn't hang on to that puck. Schultz checks him in the corner. The puck go to Kucherov. And they try to get in front to Palat. Kucherov, Stamkos, and Palat the line now with Johnson in the locker room for Tampa Bay. Here's Barberio, a shot, saves that, rebound, Kucherov, saves that with the glove. Flyers need to pick up the tempo here, as the Lightning certainly have. Stamkos brought that out to center, back in offside. Wiseman was right on it.
Well, you can plan your attack for the second half of the season with a 3-game mini plan starting at just $200. Save 35% off your choice of a rival matchup against the Penguins, Rangers, or Blackhawks, plus 2 other games at PhiladelphiaFlyers.com. And Tampa getting to their attack game here. Had a couple of chances on Rob Zepp. Barberio walks in, Zepp makes that save, and then another one follows that with a quick opportunity for Kucherov.
Finish this period with authority to the Flyers. Less than 3 minutes remaining in it. Palat throwing it up the middle. Luke Schenn maneuver in the neutral zone. To Delzato. Barber will make that. Schenn will backhand in. Kucherov on the money to Palat. And across the Philadelphia line. And to drop it off for Schuster. Big defenseman in deep. Delzato took the puck away. Schenn for Voracek. Jake is checked by Garrison. Now it's Schenn back to Delzato. Up the left wing, Schenn. He'll softly play it in. He's at the end of a shift. Flyers will change up. Bishop really turned that over to Giroux. Strawman got it back and he charges up. Anton Strawman. We'll pump it into the Philadelphia zone. McDonald. Belmar playing it along the boards. Boyle is in to kick it deeper. Belmar trying to work it along the boards. Paquette's right there as well. Paquette, Vanderbilt, Belmar. Donald joins in. The Lightning come away with the puck. It's Boyle. We'll play it down low. Zepp. Showing no hesitation to play the puck. Good work there. And he got some help from McCavier. The Flyers move up. Vanderbilt sending it in. Belmar after it. Got the angle on Boyle. Belmar now bumped by Strawman, and Boyle comes away with the puck, turns it over, shot! Raffl didn't get much on it, and Bishop able to take care of it. Well, along with the birthday boy, and we're not talking about Claude Giroux here, our director, Mike Mulligan. It's his birthday as well. Shares a birthday.
Happy birthday, Mike.
Yeah. A shout out and thanks to our entire technical crew today, bringing you all the great pictures, sounds, graphics, and replays like this particular replay where more pain for a defenseman in this game as Andrew McDonald was hit by Callahan.
Yeah, he was sore when he got to the bench, too. He was kind of laboring for the remainder of that shift, but did skate all the way over and seems to be settling in on the Flyer bench.
Lawton in the corner. Matt Carl there as well. The puck bounces ahead. Filppula will charge up with it. For Connolly, the first round pick of the Lightning. Got the puck deep. Luke Schenn lost it to Filppula. He's decked by Lawton. Lawton up the boards, kept in Carl. Little wrist shot. That hit Connolly, who topples to the ice. He's now slow getting up. Connolly the latest to be limping, although he's going to stay on the ice and fire. That shot blocked. It's still loose. Schultz takes a man down. Flyers just try to get control, and now they do. Simmons didn't see it coming right away, and it goes down the ice. 42 seconds remaining. Connolly's still out there. He was thinking about going to the bench.
He's going now, and he's
all
hurting
hunched
too.
over, yeah. We'll have to keep an eye on him as well.
They got that right in the stomach area, guys, and probably got him a little tender right now. He's going off. He's grimacing in a lot of pain.
Or attrition for sure. Kucherov flying through the neutral zone. Good play by Strike. No, it wasn't. He knocked him down, but it's a hook. I thought he got him with the body, but they're going to say he got him with the stick, and so a power play for Tampa Bay.
Mark Streit is wondering if he's the guy.
I don't know where it was.
Confused by it because he made contact. There wasn't a hook on the play. It was actually a good body check, and then Kucherov held his stick as he went down.
What a great hit by Strike. You're right, Jones. I mean, his stick was just out. Like you play a one-on-one with your stick out defenseman. That's just a bad call.
The Flyers caught a break when Vinny Lecavalier high-sticked R.J. Umberger, and Flyers ended up scoring in that power play. Braden Coburn, lower body injury, will not return to the game is the word for the Flyers.
The Flyers playing the majority of this game with 5 defensemen. They're shorthanded right now on the ice as well due to that penalty call. Flyers got breaks in this game from calls. And this one a break for Tampa Bay. Horn sounds, period comes to an end. What a period for the Flyers. They score 5 times, and they have a 7-2 lead with 40 minutes in the books. Tonight's Flyers second period was brought to you by the Pennsylvania Lottery. Goals, 7 of them belong to the Flyers. Here are the numbers courtesy of Brockman, Institute of Jefferson.
Again, the shots on goal. Flyers doing a terrific job defensively. Just 11 shots for Tampa Bay through 2 periods. Flyers have 23 shots, a lot of them on the power play, and a lot of those have found the back of the net. 3 for 4 on the Flyers power play. Not a lot of time on it because they've been so quick to score. 5 power play shots, 3 chances, 3 goals.
GMC NHL update takes you to the nation's capital, the Avalanche visiting the Capitals, and the scoring starts with Jay Beagle. 6th of the year, giving Washington a 1-0 lead. Alex Tanguay will reply for the Avalanche. Nice feed there, and on the rebound he buries it, tied at 1, but Alexander Ovechkin has scored his 22nd of the year on the power play to give Washington the 2-1 lead. Third period just underway here in Philadelphia. Flyers with a 7-2 lead as they try to end the 6-game losing streak against the Lightning. Close this one out. It's a big lead, but again, you have to finish the game by playing well. Here's Kucherov. Moving on, popping it back, and he splits the point. Then power play to start this period. 1:10 remaining on the strike hooking minor. Tampa Bay with the man advantage.
2 key power play performers and 2 of their best players not out on the ice in the third period. Tyler Johnson still in the locker room, and Victor Hedman has not returned to this game since the first period.
Zep start here for the Flyers. He's not been very busy. Flyers third all the way down. He's done 11 shots. The 2 that have gone in, he really didn't have any chance on. A Stamkos laser and then a deflection off of a defenseman high in the air. Landed over his shoulder and in. Strawman starting back. Puck to Filppula. Maneuver in. Gets to Drouin. Gets set up. The pass in the middle. Callahan shot. He scores. Power play goal for the Lightning, and it's now 7-3. Ryan Callahan on the board as he gets only his second goal in the last 20.
We've seen this play before. We've seen it in this game. Steven Stamkos scored on the power play in a very similar spot, finding that soft spot in the Flyers' defense, and walked in and fired it blocker side on Zep, the right-handed shooting Callahan, much like Stamkos, fires in the same spot.
Now in that little seam, you see the 4 guys around him. There's always that little area in between. Flyers stick checking right there, and that's not going to get it done at any point of the game in this league. They've been perfect all the way through. Callahan finds that seam, and it's a relatively easy goal.
The Flyers now really have to step up. I assume the Lightning will get a jump from that goal, as they've gotten the last 2 now to crawl to within 4. And again, they have as much firepower as any team in the NHL. They lead the NHL in goals scored. So they are missing some elements of their attack. Tyler Johnson out and Hedman and Jonesy mentioned. But still plenty of firepower on hand.
There is, and they're going to be looking for the offensive opportunities and hoping to capitalize on the Flyers sitting back too much, and they'll be looking to draw penalties as well. Referees have a tendency to give you the calls when you're down by a big margin like Tampa is in this one.
Bouncing puck in the neutral zone. Lozano has it. Fires it across ice to Voracek. Back across for Schenn. With Giroux on the 2-on-1. Schenn in front. It's deflected back to Schenn. Now he'll let it go, and Giroux knew that that was going to be a hand pass. He hesitated, but Schenn sort of drifted away, and so Giroux felt he had to play the puck. And the whistle forced the face-off back out into center.
Looked like a prime opportunity. The passing lane was kind of taken away by Garrison, and Braden Schenn still tried to pump it over there, and then he pushed it with his hand. Giroux alertly gave Schenn enough time to go get it, but Braden Schenn must have thought that it didn't hit his glove, and for some reason didn't think it was a hand pass.
Schultz sent that one in line, catches the safety netting. And so another face-off out in center ice. Oh, Giroux celebrating his birthday here tonight, and he's done so in a multiple-point game. One of 6 Flyers have multiple-point games, and 14 of the 18 skaters in this game for the Flyers have managed points.
Vinny Lecavalier and Sean Couturier, the 2 forwards that haven't had a point. You know Vinny would love to get one against his old team, the Tampa Bay Lightning. Did your friends get engaged over the holiday season? Time to start planning those bachelorette parties or any upcoming momentous occasions. You're celebrating in a suite at a Flyers game. Call 215-389-9500 and you'll have a good time, and maybe you'll catch a game like this one. 10 goals in this game and 7 for the good guys.
10 goals on 36 shots. That's not a lot of shots to have 10 goals. The pucks are finding the net. Some are off of deflections. Flyers keeping the puck in here. McDonald comes around behind the net. Umberger check there. Tampa Bay has it. Strawman ahead. Flyers will get it back. 3 minutes into the third. Nick Schultz retreating and then finding Couturier. Now to go cross ice. Turnover, then Schultz knocked the stick right out of Stamkos' hands. Play carries on. Here's Couturier up the middle. Off for Reed. Reed looking into the middle and then spinning it back. And Umberger's going to have to play that in center. Then he's checked and Stamkos almost got to it. It's Luke Schenn who plays it up. Almost too many men on the ice for the Lightning, and now they move it back in across the goal line. Kucherov to the slot, weaving his way, turning, firing, Zep the save. Stamkos checked, and now the Flyers clear all the way down. They will wave off icing though. And Bishop drop it off. Lightning in Boston tomorrow for a big divisional game. They're resting Bishop. Knock off the start, but Bishop's ending up playing quite a bit here tonight. See the shot count. Here's Drouin. Cross ice. Back Carl to it. Send it toward net. Saves Zepp, reaching for the deflection. There was Paquette. The other way, Belmar with speed. In across the line. So LeCavalier in front. Vandevelli, and he tried to go back across, and it's intercepted. Now Connolly charging up with it. Connolly going wide around behind. Reversal. Cavalier in good shape for that. Moving to the other corner. Zotto takes a man down. Puck to the circle. Vandevelli gets some space and gives to Streit. He's changing here, so Streit will go back. Now it's Delzano right back to Mark Streit. Head Simmons tips, but hands it over in center. Filppula to Killorn. Killorn checked by Raffl. Filppula back to it. And now here's a shot. Garrison! He has a heavy shot. That one takes off and finds glass. And it's Raffl moving the other way with it. Pumps it into the Tampa Bay zone. Bishop is out. To Garrison, but he lost it to Watt. Simmons trying to track it down. Barberio there instead. Up the wall, it's McDonald. McDonald sent it off the skate of Raffl. Raffl recaptures. Raffl looking to the point, now reverses to Simmons. Behind the net, Simmons lost control as he tried to step in front. Now Callahan moves it to the other side of the ice. Barberio will move up from our AHL best defenseman. All the way down the ice. Flyers back to get it. Here's Schultz to McDonald. Now Schultz on the red line is checked. Ricocheting around, finally controlled by Stralman. Approach the 6-minute mark of this third period. Just 4 shots. 3 of them belong to the Lightning here in the third. One of which went up in the net. Voracek, cross-ice pass. Shen got it. And now Giroux. He's all by himself, so he just twists it down low. Bishop out of his net to play the puck. He lost it behind the net as Voracek knocked it down. Stralman falls down. Voracek gets to Giroux. In on goal! And Bishop able to make the save and cover up. We'll be back. Get the Flyer All-Stars. Claude Giroux, Jake Voracek headed to Columbus. Here's the rest of the Eastern Conference. Different numbers here, of course. You'll have the fantasy draft, if you will, which is the new format.
Yep.
But, you see most of the teams represented. Patrick Elias already said he didn't think any Devils deserved to go to the All-Star game, but he has been selected. Jimmy Howard is on the list, but unfortunately carted off and injured. He will not be able to participate, so they'll be naming some replacements. Sergei Bobrovsky, fresh off his new contract as an All-Star.
Got some cash, doesn't he?
Indeed. Second highest paid.
Wow.
Goaltender. And of course, he's a Columbus Blue Jacket, so be neat for him. Look out. Here's Kucherov trying to pick up that puck and then finds Stamkos in front. That one goes on through. Now Palat tries to center and Reed intercepts. Reed ahead for Umberger. And he'll backhand it into the Tampa Bay zone. Barrio lifts one high out to center, looking for Kucherov again. He tips it past Delzato, gets to it, around the other side, out in front. And it's back out to Reed. Reed lost control. Flyers get it back. Now the Flyers with a touch pass from LeCavalier to Couturier to LeCavalier. Is in shooting position there, but decided to make a pass. It goes the other way. Here's Drouin. Drouin with a shot. That one whips wide, and Zepp will play it off the back wall and cover up.
Let's have a look at our Hyundai save of the game, and it's from that man, Rob Zepp. Second period under attack, makes 2 saves. Real hard shot by Barberio, right off the crest, stays with it. Tampa finds a rebound by Kucherov, and Zepp throws out the glove hand. That is a Hyundai save of the game, a couple good ones. He's not going to cheat you of an effort, guys. That's one thing. He's 33 years old. Every second of this ice time and games he gets is precious to him, and he's not going to take anything for granted.
Yeah, and I think you understand, this is a tough game now for a goaltender. It's really opened up here in the third. Play going back and forth, some broken plays too, but He's only seen 14 shots, but some little tricky situations here of late.
Yes, and you can expect Tampa to continue to cheat in different areas, trying to create offensive opportunities. So he's going to have a few more pucks to stop before this one's all said and done.
We move up here. 2-on-1 develops. Paquette with the puck. The shot, and that one missed the target. Bounces high off the wall. Simmons kept it from going out in front. Connolly behind the net. Now into the quarter is checked. And Raffl moves it ahead to Lawton, but Lawton turns it over. Here's Matt Carl. Carl twisting his way in, backhands it around behind. It goes out to Schuster at the point. Schuster back in along the wall. There's Drouin. Quick pass out. Schuster there. There's Schuster, side of the net. That one almost got out in front. It hits Streit. He'll play it up the boards in glass. He can get in. Carl. And the Lightning peeling back at a change now. So time for the Flyers. Flyers are going to change as well as Streit hangs on to the puck.
No rush for Mark Streit. Vinny Lecavalier swoops down and grabs that puck. Craig Berube using his fourth line a lot here in the third period, and they've had another strong game with Vanderbilt picking up a couple of points along the way.
Lauren into the Philadelphia zone. Strawman. Gets to Vilpula, trying to get away from Belmar. Flyers tie him up, and Lecavalier tips it out to the neutral zone. Barberio has it there, and he gets to Killorn. Killorn in the middle for Callahan. He was quickly checked. And Luke Schenn now with it. Lightning steal it from him. Callahan got it to the side of the net. Zepp jumps on top of the puck, and then we get some pushing and shoving. Have not had a whole lot of this. Does give us time to tell you the answer to our Jeep trivia question of the game. Steven Stamkos potted 60 goals for that Tampa Bay record. And he is certainly capable of that kind of production. There are his year-by-year goal counts. And of course, the 2013-14 season was a shortened year by injury. The 12-13 season was shortened by work stoppage. Otherwise, he had many more in those years. There's a save by Zepp off of Garrison right off the face-off. Nobody has scored more goals in the NHL. Steven Stamkos over the last 5 seasons.
And never cheats the game. His teammates can count on him in all situations, and a terrific leader for this Lightning team.
And here's Schuster, a shot and a save made by Zepp, who's getting busier here in this third period.
Tampa really trying to push the envelope and create some offensive opportunity, activating their defensemen here. And Zepp continues to find a way to get in the way of those pucks, and in this one he holds onto it, no rebound attempt as Schuster walks in with traffic in front of a difficult save.
Yeah, 4-goal deficit's going to make you play a little bit sloppier, when you have a lead of 4 goals. And Tampa being down at 4 goals is going to just take chances, and that's what they're doing. That's why you're seeing bigger chances by them at any other point in the hockey game, and that last one was pretty indicative. You can see the Andre Schuster jumping up, defenseman. It's a 1-goal game. You probably don't see a lot of that at this point of the game.
Sure, on the bench, Craig Berube and his assistants are saying, let's just get back to the way we were playing, but human nature, it's hard to do. Here's Palat with a shot, and a good play by Streit to get his stick in there and deflect it out of play.
Flyers down, of course, to 5 defensemen, just like the Tampa Bay Lightning, so they want to make sure they have quick shifts. They're getting used to different partners defensively as well, and it's a great opportunity to try to develop some chemistry right now. Not sure how long Coburn will be unavailable. With Grossman out already, the Flyers, we went from 8 healthy defensemen and healthy scratch situations, and now we're looking for everybody to contribute.
Hello, Koliakovo, remember him?
Yep.
Scratch 25 games in a row could come into play as early as Wednesday. We'll wait and see, though. We don't know, as you said, about the severity of Coburn's situation. Bishop stripped of the puck. And trying to get it in front was Reed. It was blocked. He's got it back. Matt Reed all the way across. And that shot by McDonald deflected high into the air and into the safety netting. We passed the midpoint of period number 3. The Flyers lead by 4.
Very much. Time to take a look now at our Toyota turning point of the hockey game. And you know what, guys? It's going to be 3 Flyer power play goals in that second period. Really got the Flyers going. I mean, they had 5 guys touching on that goal, or Streit finishes it. Braden Schenn upstairs over the glove of Bishop at that point. Outstanding power play tonight. That was And it is a Toyota turning point of this hockey game.
Special teams have clicked. It's the power plays for both clubs. Only 2 chances, and they converted both times. Flyers with a 5-goal second period, their first 5-goal period in over a calendar year. They did not have one in 2014, the last in December of 2013 against Columbus. Puck high in the air, none of the Flyers could get it. Drouin the other way. And he's swarmed upon by the orange jerseys, and the Flyers have it back. Andrew McDonald ahead. Lawton met there by Connolly and turns it over. Paquette a quick shot. Zepp handles that one with ease, and they'll hang on.
Well, the Flyers take on the Vancouver Canucks this Thursday. It's a 7 o'clock start. Then they will face off against the Pittsburgh Penguins next Tuesday at 7:30. Reserve your tickets now with the Flyers free mobile app or by visiting PhiladelphiaFlyers.com. A couple of tough matchups here as the Flyers continue a real difficult stretch against some top-notch teams.
Busy into the break are the Flyers tonight. Getting a stretch of 6 games in 9 days. There's a shot from the point that goes wide. 5 of the 6 opponents are in first or second place in their division with a points percentage over 600. So tough competition. Only starting here tonight. The Flyers showing they're capable of playing with a very good team as they have the 4-goal advantage here against the Eastern Conference leading Lightning. Killorn worked out by Luke Schenn. Filppula comes in. Giroux pestering him. And Voracek forced back, but Luke Schenn is there. And for Del Zotto. And he'll chip one through the neutral zone and down the ice. Nicely played, no icing as Garrison is back for Tampa Bay. Schuster. Now Callahan. Ahead Boyle. Brian Boyle. And maneuver through, could not. It's McDonald ahead, out of the reach of LeCavalier, but not kept in by Barberio. Matt Carl to it there. Matt Carl, about a year ago today, had a +6 game against the Flyers.
That's right.
There's LeCavalier to Vanderbilt. He's not going to be +6.
No, he's not. Minuses won't be too bad because the Flyers' power play was so good in this one.
-1. So.
Yeah, no, only one possible plus for Tampa Bay Lightning as they only scored 1 goal at even strength.
3-on-2 possibility for Tampa Bay here. Connolly up the right wing. Connolly centering. It goes in on Zepp, then ricochets around. He's able to cover. Gets a late jab from Brendan Morrow. And he gets pushed in front. And developed. Wednesday night, rivalry night. Flyers and Capitals from Washington. You can see this game on NBC, SN, beginning at 8 o'clock. Great pregame show before that.
Amazing pregame show.
Yeah. And then the next night, Flyers host the Canucks, as we mentioned. We'll have that game for you here on Comcast Sportsnet, beginning our coverage at 6:30 with Flyers pregame live. Kucherov a shot, shoulder save by Zepp. Now Stamkos back around behind the Philadelphia net. Right to Stallman on the boards. Kucherov pinned there, and the puck pops free. Reed will move up with it. And go cross ice. Umberger jabs at it. Couturier finds it. Back across ice off Schuster's stick. And Reed will jam it around behind the net. 7:15 to play here in the third. Umberger. Checked by Kucherov. Tampa Bay looking to maneuver on up with it. Watt has it. Right wing feed Kucherov. Drop past Stamkos, back to Kucherov, and he fired it wide. He had Zepp leaning, actually sliding, but could not find the target. Here's Stamkos, back to Barberio for a shot. Batted away by Zepp. Delzato ridden in by Kucherov. And Delzato came back and nailed Kucherov and went to the ice and wanted a penalty call. He was not going to get it. He now jabs a Flyer on his way to the bench. As the Lightning look to move up, there's Morrow tipping to the Philadelphia line. Nick Schultz, the red line and in. Not going to have any trouble just getting that puck deep. That's their goal here. Simmons couldn't knock that puck down, so Drouin moves up with it. To Morrow. Just twisted deeper into Philadelphia ice. Zepp is checked behind the net, lost it, comes out in front, Carl's shot! And he missed the net as Zepp went diving back in. It may have been deflected away. Now Schuster, a shot batted away. Back out to Carl, who's chopped at by Simmons. Penalty coming up. Delayed call, and as Lawton plays the puck, there's your whistle. Now Morrow and McDonald get the gloves up, and Morrow has the right hands firing. Brendan Morrow and Andrew McDonald. And McDonald goes down, the linesman will jump in.
Good for Andrew McDonald to get in there and drop his mitts. Did a nice job sticking up for his teammates.
Oh, Wayne Simmons in the box. Simmons for a hook. It looked like maybe a slash, and McDonald gets involved here.
Yeah, he gets cross-checked first, goes right back after Brendan Morrow, one of the tougher Tampa Bay Lightning forwards. And a couple of sticks there. That one didn't go over too well. And then a face wash, and then a bunch of rights from Brendan Morrow, who's more accustomed to dropping his gloves than Andrew McDonald. But a nice job for Andrew McDonald and standing up for himself. Greg Berube would be happy with that.
Second career fight for Andrew McDonald, but the power play belongs to the Lightning due to Simmons' penalty. Broken stick for a Lightning player as Kucherov has the puck. They're 2 for 2 with the power play. As they try to get within 3 here with 5:37 to play in the third. Couturier in the slot, Giroux, and hit the broken stick, so it didn't get out of the zone. Now Giroux pokes it out to center ice and heads to the bench saying, that took a lot of work. 2 broken sticks in the Philadelphia zone. As the Lightning get back in, Smallman has the puck. Center to the cross, Reed got his stick on it to deflect it, but Bryden Reed could not manage to clear the zone. That did come out, courtesy of the Lightning. Brought back in offside.
Some broken sticks there and a lot of obstacles to try to maneuver around. There's one of them, didn't go quite in half. The other one was in half, part of it over by Chris Terry and at center ice. And the other part was hanging out around the Flyers' blue line. So bit of a garage sale there. Get the autographs out, sign the blades, and give them the charity.
Kindling wood. No?
Not anymore.
Not anymore, they're not.
It used to be. Now it's
I can tell you,
composite.
Build a fence.
we did a lot of kindling as kids with that stuff. My dad would get it. Old broken hockey sticks were the best. No more, guys.
No. They still seem to break, though.
All the time.
Bruin back to Callahan, and that's kept in at the line by Garrison. Drouin tried to center, did get in front of Filppula. That's not what he meant to do, at least at that speed, but that's the way things are going here in this third period. Garrison can't keep the puck in the zone. And then finally it's pushed into the Tampa Bay and 5 Vanderbilt. Half-minute remaining in the Tampa Bay power play. Here's Callahan. He is checked. Keeping it in is Filppula. Cologne. To Filppula. Cross ice pass, got his man Drouin. Back across Filppula, and that one went out for Cologne at the side of the net, and Sprite able to shovel one all the way down the ice. Hoffel will press the action here as he gives Schuster and Garrison plenty of trouble. Out of the box jumps Simmons, Flyers back to full strength, so they've killed off the Tampa Bay power play here tonight. Score remains 7-3, down to 3:45 remaining. That Carl across for Connolly. Brett Connolly gives to Schuster, their undrafted player. And that shot deflects off of the Lightning. To the corner. Shen. Side, Boyle is there, and they'll just jam it back around. Schuster will backhand it. Connolly boots the puck to the goalboard. Schultz checks in. Voracek to Giroux, and now Shen. Braden Shen to Giroux. He was tightly marked right at the line. He was tied up at center. Giroux and Voracek. Now Voracek wheels back with it. Gets it off the stick. And that Carl will just get it right back out to center. Lightning have it now and they move back in. Philadelphia. Here's Palat. Behind Kucherov. Off by Belmar. He'll move up with it. Pass in the middle for LeCavalier. Vanderbilt carries on. His pass intercepted by Barberio. 2:42 remaining. One thing about the Flyers having the big lead in this game, they could roll the lines pretty much here in the third. They've got this busy schedule, so nobody will be taxed too much on the forward line. They, of course, have had to go with 5 defensemen, though. So the defense getting a lot of work.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And that's interesting. Craig Berube just had Giroux's line on the ice with about 3 minutes left in the game, so I would expect that they would ride the rest of this one out on the bench up by 4 goals. But when a team like Tampa has owned you like they have of late against Philadelphia, I think there's something to be said about punching up the score a little bit as well.
Never be too careful either, right?
That's true too.
Nick Schultz from the red line, getting that one in. Couturier will go after it. On Couturier. Around to the other side, it's going to make its way all the way out to center. Stroik will take it there. Big night for Stroik. A career high with 3 points. I mentioned between periods, 18 points in his last 19 games. Almost a 20-game pace for a defenseman. And Reed. Plays it in the left wing for Couturier. Couturier centers it. Reed couldn't get the shot through. He's got his back. Twisting and turning. Reed around behind, out the other side. Simmons reaching for his pass. Will then just play it back deep into the Tampa Bay zone. Now Couturier has to deal with Schuster. And 5 players in the scrum in the corner. Flyers have no problem with this.
The ref's not going to blow the whistle right now. They're ready to get out of here.
And we enter the final minute of the third. Who got that in? Nick Schultz will get to the puck. Lou Nolan, public address announcer, alerting the fans that remain that we're into the final minute. And Tampa Bay will move up into the period of frustration for the Flyers against this Tampa Bay club. They had lost 6 in a row against them, but it's going to end here tonight. Filppula in across the Philadelphia line. Stuffs it deep. Schultz over to get to it. Filppula back out to Carl for a shot. Deflects and goes to the corner. Got it back into the corner. Killorn there. This will wrap up the season series too as Callahan sends that one off from Zepp out to Barberio. Back down low, Callahan. 7 seconds. Filppula to Carl. Shot. Glove save Zepp as he makes one more save here before this one runs its course.
Let's take a look at our Mazda top shelf performers, and the Flyers, Mark Streit picks up a goal and 2 assists. Van de Velde, Voracek, Brayden Schenn a goal and assist each. Giroux and Simmons 2 helpers apiece. Stamkos picks up his 18th career goal in 23 games versus the Flyers. And Tampa will ignore the other 2 since it was all Flyers in this one.
And the Flyers make it a winning homestand as they take care of the Tampa Bay Lightning. And Rob Zepp picks up his 2nd National Hockey League win. Streit 3 points, Zepp 2 for 2. As an NHL goalie, R.J. Umberger on the board for the Flyers as well. 7-3 Philadelphia. The Flyers with 6 out of a possible 8 points in this 4-game homestand.